Hey, so it's been a little while since I did one of these watch me work videos. As you know, I've been hacking away on building ProcessKit, and I've begun sending out the first invites to the first users. So I'm really excited about that. I'm continuing to build out new features in ProcessKit. So now that invites are starting to go out, what I need is a full marketing website to be designed, created, coded, and launched. So that sometime in the next month or two, probably 2 months or so, I want to have this full marketing site to replace what I currently have, which is like a coming soon page. You know, what's there currently at processkit.com is still the pre-launch page, which is mostly just text. And I just added this video now that I have some of the product to show. But what I need to replace this with is like a full marketing site, like I said. And so in this video, I thought I would sort of walk through my first steps on how I'm getting this together. And this time around, it's a little bit different from in the past, where I would design and write the copy and create the entire marketing site myself. But this time I'm pretty consumed in working on the product, the software itself. So this time I sort of want to hand it off to a designer who's much more talented than I am, and also a copywriter to really make some refinements there. But you know, I am a designer, and I do have a specific vision for how I want the new site to work and the message that I want to get across. So I'm going to talk through how I'm starting this project, and then how I'm finding the designer and sort of the materials that I'm giving them to run with. So, you know, my first step with doing any sort of work, especially when it comes to a marketing design, is to find inspiration. I want to go look at a lot of other sites for ideas and inspiration. And what a lot of people do is they only look at their competitors. And you know, obviously, I'm aware of my competitors, and I looked at them, but really, I want to go outside of that and just look at a lot of different SaaS business-focused tools. And so I started to create this Envision board. At envisionapp.com, you can create a free account and create what they call these boards. And I started importing these big full browser window screenshots of SaaS sites. To get the long screenshots, I'm using this Chrome extension. I think it's called full page screen capture. I think if you just Google for like full page screen capture for Chrome, you'll find it. It's free. You can install it. You basically just visit any website, and then you click this button, and it takes a minute, and it screenshots the entire thing. You know, so like here's one that I picked out, Stripe, or it's one of the pages on the Stripe site. Oh, that's too far in. How can I just show some of it? Okay. So, you know, like we have the entire page all here, and it's saved, right? Now what I did was, if I get out of this, on every one of these, and I also grabbed the colors from the app so that we have the color palette. What I did was I jotted down some very brief notes, like what exactly did I like about it? Like this one is closed IO, and what I like about this is like the light and dark transitions, nice typography, and they have an interesting tabbing interface, which I think we could make use of something along those lines in this design. You know, a lot of these, another thing that I want to do is, can't zoom in. Another thing that I want to do is have a really nice custom graphic or custom illustration built, something like this. We're looking at segment.com, I think they are now. And so, you know, like I think I wrote, let me look at what I wrote there. Oh, and like if I go to the site, it's animated. You know, they have these like little subtle animations that happen, which are really cool. I would like to do something like that. I'm going to be the one coding the site ultimately, so I'm going to sort of have to figure out how to create these animated SVGs. Honestly, I've never done that before. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to have to sort of figure that out or find a tool to do it or something. If anybody knows, by the way, please let me know. But yeah, I would love to have a designer create a custom graphic like that. And I grabbed a couple of example sites that have really nice, custom graphics. Where are some of the other ones? Like this one, this is Craft CMS. Again, these are like not direct competitors with ProcessKit, but they are software tools that serve businesses. I can't seem to get a decent zoom on these things. Anyway, so that's sort of the first step, is to gather up inspiration. And where I found all these sites, I went to a few different places. First of all, a lot of them are just sites that I know, like Stripe, and one of them is Help Scout somewhere. Yeah, this is a page off of Help Scout. I really like what they do. There are certain things, like I usually find like one or two little aspects of the site, whether it's like how they did a tabbing interface or the illustration or the color palette or things like that I want to make a note of, because this is for my own inspiration, but ultimately I hand this off to a designer as well so that I can give them some idea. And the designer and I are going to discuss all of these things too. So where I found a lot of these sites, aside from just knowing of some SaaS, is I went to a couple different sites. One is called pages.xyz. This is sort of a directory of really nice designs, and I think you can filter. How can you filter? Oh, you can filter by pricing page or product pages or app pages. So that's kind of cool. So I found a couple of them off of here. And then there's this other site called landingfolio.com. It's basically all landing pages, all pretty nice designs. And again, you can filter here by sort of industry or mobile app or SaaS. So I think I looked at SaaS and I grabbed some of them off of here. And then I click over to the site, of course, and I'll like dig into it and find certain things that I like. So that's my first step, was how, getting some inspiration. And once I got the ideas, that is when I started to create my wireframe. So I'll show you that. So now I'm in Sketch, and I created this, and this starts to look like an actual design, right? But it's not. I mean, this is really what I consider to be just more of a rough wireframe, to be honest. If I zoom out on it, you can see what the whole thing looks like from top to bottom. And I'll zoom in now and show you what I'm doing. So the logo was I already created that a few weeks ago, and I'm using the same font that I've already been using on ProcessKit. But then everything else is very, very rough. And what I always try to do is draft the actual copy in the wireframe itself. I don't use like lorem ipsum, temporary text or anything like that. I always try to do actual copy. So I went through a few iterations of what these headlines should be, and frankly, I don't think they're going to be final, because I'm also working with a copywriter who is going to go through all of these and find ways to make them more humorous, punchy, interesting, resonating with the target customer, that sort of thing. But by me drafting it first, at least I'm getting across my take on it and the direction that I want to try to get these messages across. So I've got the headline piece, and then over here I just wrote like animated graphic, because I don't know what that's going to be yet or what it should look like. So I'm trying to leave some space for, a designer to come in with different ideas. And I don't even know if the layout will work this way. They might have other ideas on that, but that's that. Then this second, so at first, like the goal of this top section above the fold is to sort of like grab attention, give a quick concept of what this thing is, and get you to stay on the page and start scrolling down. I think this link will probably point to a video demo at some point. But then as you scroll down, this section, I kind of use the headline project meet process. I want to get across the idea that ProcessKit is a place to document your processes, but it's also a project management tool, especially if you have highly repeatable projects that need to run according to processes, so that you can apply your processes to your projects, right? So I think we'll have some sort of custom graphic to represent that concept. I really want to get that across near the top. Then this section I put little boxes here for like other custom graphics and icons. I don't know what those are going to be yet. I put lines to sort of indicate that like maybe they could all be connected in some way. I don't know. Again, it's just sort of like a rough thought right now. I've got some draft copy, but my goal for this section is to focus on the benefit. Like, why is it worth investing in ProcessKit? What are what makes it unique, right? Like they're adaptable SOPs because they can adapt to different scenarios, or deliverables and receivables. If you're working with clients, you could use your process to deliver things and get the things that you need back from your clients and have that all handled. And of course, you could track your all the history and of everything that happened. So, I'm not really getting into features here. I'm trying to focus on the benefits, and I think the copywriter that I'm going to be working with can really help dial these in and make them even more punchier. Here is another really important benefit for ProcessKit, and that's integrations. Mainly the fact that we integrate with Zapier. So I want to have a big section kind of devoted to that, because that's a big question that comes up in the calls. Like, does it integrate with this? Can I connect it to this? Can I send things to ProcessKit? Can ProcessKit send things to my other apps? So I really want to highlight like different popular apps being connected to ProcessKit with Zapier here. Then down here is where I want to start to highlight kind of the key features. Maybe down the road, I'm going to have like dedicated pages focused on these or focused on these categories. But for now, I think we're going to have it on the homepage. I think this will be some form of like a tabbing interface with like 4 sections. And then for each section, we'll show a batch of specific features, and each feature would have an icon and a little blurb. Again, these are like my draft copy. These can be made, improved, I think. But then I just drafted the rest of them, but they're not all going to be shown like that. They're all just going to be shown like 4 at a time. And I don't know if we're going to do like a side tab like that, or maybe tabs across the top, or some sort of swiping thing, or I don't know. But like, I just wanted to get across the idea that we're going to highlight all the features here. They're going to be grouped into these 4 different categories between processes, projects, team management, and client management. And there's going to be some sort of UI to tab between them. And then just a final call to action to get in now. That can probably be improved, but that's that. And then the footer is what it looks like, kind of mapping out all the different pages. Typically with sites, I try not to put like all the links at the very top. So product will probably just point down to those features. Templates will point to some sort of library of process templates that you can import into ProcessKit, which doesn't exist yet, so this probably won't even be there when the site launches. Pricing is going to go over to a different page, and I did wireframe that up. That's right here. So here is my first stab at what the pricing page will look like. Again, the designer is going to go over this and really try to tie it in with the look and feel of what the site will ultimately look like. But this was my first take at it. It's going to be a very simple pricing plan to begin with, kind of just like one price. It will grow once you have more people, beyond 3 people. That would be a per user pricing. And then below that, pretty typical, just a few FAQs. I think the typography and everything can be improved here a little bit. And then the standard footer. So that's all I created so far, and that's all I'm giving to the designer. I'm not really doing anything more than what I just showed you, and I'm going to let the designer sort of take over and come up with a polished mock-up of this, and we'll do some custom graphics, and we're gonna go back and forth, and maybe I'll do some revisions off of the designer's work. Maybe I'll give them some feedback for them to do revisions. We're gonna punch up the copy a little bit, and then my goal is to then start building it out in July. So let me talk a little bit about how I went about finding a designer. I'm still actually finalizing that decision right now on who I'm going to go with, but here's how I went about doing it. I went onto Dribbble. If you're not familiar, it's Dribbble with 3Bs.com. And obviously Dribbble is known for showing really great work of designers across all different types of design, from marketing sites to logos to illustrations and all different things, UIs. They have a directory of designers. And so like you could post a job. I didn't do that. I think it's like $300, and you could post a job and have a lot of designers come apply for your thing. But instead, I just went to the designers directory, and I wanted to just spend a lot of time just looking through people's portfolios. And then I actually made a list in my Dribbble account. You can go to lists, and then I picked out like the people that I thought were really great. And I made this list, and then I manually sent them emails and had interviews with them. But let me show you this designer section. And now I think you need the pro account, which is $99 a month. I paid for at least 1 month. I'll probably cancel it after the 1 month. But by paying for the pro account, that allows you to search by skill, I think. But you can't do this like advanced search, and I don't really need that. But what I did do was for this project, I'm looking for a web designer. So I searched by the web design category, and I can work with anybody anywhere in the world. I'm sort of preferring people in North America for time zones, but I just left that on any. And then that gives you a long directory of people who are sort of categorized under a web design skill set. And then over here you have a drop down. I don't want to work with a team or an agency. I want a single freelance designer to work with. So I filtered it by only designers. And then I think they sort by trending by default, but I switched to sorting it by followers. So at the very top, you're going to see people with like 200,000 followers on Dribbble, 197,000. I'm not even going to bother contacting these people. They're obviously huge, well-known. They probably get contacted every single day, 100 times a day. I'm not going to break through that noise. So I scrolled all the way down, and I started. So I started looking at portfolios of people who have somewhere around. I probably started looking at them around like 27,000 followers and below, like all the way down to like even people who just have like 1,000 or 2,000 followers. There's a lot of really talented people who just aren't as well known yet. So that's where you can find people who have really great skills, and you can contact them and they'll actually reply to your email, right? So that's what I kind of focused on here. Now Dribbble, one of the pro features that I think you need to like. Oh, so I think being a pro, you're allowed to contact them like through Dribble's system, and they give you like up to 10 messages that you're allowed to send. But most people, if they're available for freelance work, you'll see like they actually put their email address like in the description so that you don't even have to use that limit. You can just email them directly, and that's what I did. It also gives me an indication that if they're putting their email address in there, they are asking you to contact them. Like they're available, they're seeking leads for freelance projects. So like what I would do is just click into a single person's portfolio and start to look at the individual pieces. I'd zoom them in and start to check them out. Sometimes they have these attachments where you can really see the whole picture. And I'm looking for people who obviously have strong design skills overall. I'm looking for people who have worked on marketing websites, not just like UI for apps. There's a lot of people who've only worked on like mobile apps, or only people who do logos and they don't really do full site designs. So I'm looking for people who have relevant experience, and I'm also looking for people who've created custom graphics in their designs. And that's something that I end up talking to them about when we have the call. So out of this process of just going through Dribbble, I made a list of like 10 or 12 people, and then I sent an email to most of them, and I had calls with I think like 5 or 6 people, And then today I'm just sort of making a final decision on who I'm going to end up hiring and who I have the right budget for and all that kind of stuff. So then hopefully next week we can get going on making this wireframe a reality. And I think that's going to take us through probably the month of June of getting the design all finalized. And then in July, I'm going to take the designer's design and I'll handle the coding and building of the site myself. So I'll do that in July, and then hopefully we'll have a more legit, marketing website, something to replace this long page of text and sort of a temporary coming soon. And then ProcessKit will actually be like a real thing on the internet. That's the goal. Anyway, just wanted to share that process with you on how I'm getting started on this project. And if you have any questions or suggestions or anything like that, I'm all ears. Thanks.